Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. I'm here to present SB 1155, which will grant one fee waiver to honorably discharge veterans seeking an occupational license in the state of California. Application license fees can act as a barrier to the 240 to 360,000 veterans seeking to transition to civilian workforce life each year. Many of our veterans will make California their home, and many more would like to do so. This bill will create an incentive for veterans to apply their skill set to an occupation in California. As we know, veterans often gain valuable job skills during their military service. However, despite this fact, many young veterans, that unemployment rate today stands in California at 6.2%. In addition, we know that California has the most homeless veterans of any state in our nation. So if we are able to move to more effectively harness the job skills learned in the military service, we may be able to bring more veterans into the workforce. This will grow the skilled labor market in California, creating more jobs and, of course, higher paying jobs. So by removing a barrier of entry, this bill effects will be twofold. First, to grow California's economy, and secondly, to address the growing issue of veterans' homelessness as well as unemployment. So specifically, SB 1155 will require boards and bureaus within the Department of Consumer Affairs to waive the initial license fee and application fees for honorably discharged veterans. Each board has their own way of processing applications and license, and so therefore each will need to comply in their own way. Multiple states have passed such legislation across America, and it is time for California to join those ranks in encouraging higher employment rates for our veterans. I would like to introduce Mrs. Colbert, who will testify in support of SB 1150. She currently works in Government Affairs Chair for the California Association of Licensed Investigators. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members, and of course, would respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, committee. My name is Francie, actually Kohler. I didn't want to correct the senator here just a little bit. My association, I'm a past president of the California Association of Licensed Investigators, as well as the Government Affairs Director, and our association is in strong support of this bill. We feel that it's a small thank you to pay to our veterans who have served this country, and we believe that it will remove some of the obstacles that veterans have who desire to work in this state, and will facilitate their entrance into the workforce. I urge your aye vote.
Very good. Thank you very much. Pete?
Mr. Chairman, members, Pete Conity representing 20 veteran groups, over 1 million veterans, and there is a letter en route in your direction in full support of this bill. This is another one of those things we can do to help our veterans. California has more active duty military, more active duty reserves, more veterans than any other state. We bring in more GI Bill money than any other state, so anything we can do to help veterans find jobs is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Conity. Other witnesses in support?
Hello. Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Nushin Movasagi, and I'm with the California Board of Accountancy, and we're in support of this bill.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. Others in support? Anyone here in opposition? Seeing no one. Very good. Questions or comments? Yes, Senator Jackson.
Just curious, I support all efforts to give our veterans opportunities so that they can be recognized for what they've done to help us all and get back into the workforce and get back to being good, productive members of our community as they are. I'm curious, though, is there any data that indicates that the cost of these licensing fees is in any way deterring these veterans from getting or seeking out license opportunities?
I saw your head shaking yes. Would you like to go first?
I don't think there is. Well, I don't think there's a problem for us, let me say it this way, for the licensing agency, Bureau of Investigative Security Services. The license fee is, to apply is under $300, but $300 for somebody that is not working is a lot of money still. And as far as the impact on BSIS, the private investigators have their own fund, which is well-funded all the time. And so we don't see any impact either on the fund for the vets who will be coming into the workforce.
I'd like to add on, Pete.
Well, I was going to say, there is anecdotal evidence that, that this is another block to veterans getting jobs as well as getting credit for their military service. So the interesting thing is whenever we pass one of these bills and it is advertised and then veterans look at it and they say, and we spread the word to all the veterans groups and they say, oh, I can get a discounted license and go to work.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious as to whether we were seeing this as a problem, one of the impediments to our veterans seeking this kind of employment. Thank you.
I would say it's probably compounding, but this is among many other challenges that they face when they come back. Would you like to close, Senator Morrell?
I would, thank you. Yeah, this bill, I think is a simple bill, self-explanatory. It's going to help our veterans, and we have no opposition and a lot of support. So thank you, and I would appreciate an aye vote. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. We have a motion from Senator Jackson. Please call the roll.
Motion is due pass to Senate Veterans Committee. Hill?
Aye.
Hill, aye. Bates? Berryhill? Block? Block, aye. Galgiani? Hernandez? Hernandez, aye. Jackson? Jackson, aye. Mendoza? Wachowski?
Thank you.
As 4 votes, right now we'll hold the roll open for the absent members.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure it won't be a problem. Thank you very much. Senator Allen, I saw you come in. Welcome. We're moving to item number 8, SB 1215.
Well, thank you so much, members. As many of you know, California is home to an unparalleled array of aerospace-related assets. And aerospace employs over 200,000 Californians directly and supports more than 500,000 jobs in related fields. It turns out, actually, that economic studies estimate that California's aerospace industry generates annual revenue that is roughly equivalent to those of our agriculture and entertainment industries combined, which is pretty extraordinary. So, you know, as you maybe know, we've got commissions for strawberries, for asparagus, for all sorts of wonderful things. We don't have a commission related to aerospace, and Senate Bill 1215 establishes a California Aerospace Commission that among its duties will act as a clearinghouse, be an advocate in support of, and recommend changes in statutes to enhance the development of California aerospace-related activities. And it's my intent that in authoring SB 1215, that it would supplement and enhance the ongoing work of GoBiz, which is the official arm of California government tasked with promoting economic development, as you know. So last year, this committee unanimously passed legislation by Senate Republican leader Fuller, which was SB 506, that tasked GoBiz with specific responsibilities relative to defense and aerospace. And although that bill stalled in Appropriations Committee, if similar legislation emerges this year, I know she's working on it, I want this to complement and work in concert with it. She's actually, I'm the vice chair of the Senate Select Committee on Defense and Aerospace. She's the chair, and she's agreed to co-author this legislation as well, SB 1215. And I think that any work the Senate undertakes in these policy areas is a ripe opportunity for bipartisan collaboration. I should also just want to send a special thank you to Assemblymember Al Marsucci, former Assemblymember Al Marsucci, who originally proposed this commission in 2014, and we're picking up where he left off. My thought is that with the right investment in economic policies, California will continue to be a worldwide leader in research, development, manufacturing, and deployment of aerospace technologies for decades to come. And I respectfully ask your aye vote on SB 1215.
Very good. Thank you, Senator Allen. Are there witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? So, I did have a couple of questions, Senator Allen. We're looking at a commission, and you mentioned the Asparagus Commission, the Strawberry Commission, and all of these commissions that are so very important. When it comes to mind, what is the direction to go to a public commission rather than having a private entity that should certainly, I'm sure, work a little faster to advocate and do some of the things that we would like? You know, a lot of times government involvement isn't always the best answer to or provides the best resources or advocacy for the industry.
Well, certainly private industry has a role in advocacy, and, you know, they're here and they're engaged and they've got lobbyists and you know, government relations infrastructure. Some of you may have been, you may have had the opportunity to see the Aerospace Days exhibit that they had outside the Capitol just a couple weeks ago. So there is a private sector presence
You think
here.
this raises the profile to a level that would make?
And places it into the, you know, in some ways it's important for, particularly an industry like this that is so closely related to the public sector. I mean, so much aerospace money comes from the government in everything from both on the military side, but, you know, but everything, I mean, just the other day I was down, we saw the wonderful launch in Senator Jackson's district of the SpaceX rocket that had a satellite technology that was with NOAA that is going to help us monitor and better understand climate change impacts globally, because, you know, this new satellite technology is able to monitor sea level rise and surface temperatures all around the world, and that's all largely driven by California aerospace related technology.
Oh, no,
So
it's phenomenal.
So yes, private sector has an important role to play, but there's an important public sector role here too. And I want to make sure that it's, you know, that there's going to be a presence with the requisite independence that's pro aerospace, but also constantly keeping in mind the public mission
No,
associated.
and I agree. I just was looking at, and you take Silicon Valley, I mean, that was the, you know, after World War II and even during, you know, with Lockheed and all of these companies, that was the foundation really of the research and development that started in that area. And
Yep.
it continues to this day, so it's very good. So,
With a
any
lot of
questions?
connections with the universities too.
I'm sorry?
A lot of connections with the universities
Yeah,
too.
very true. Any other questions or have a,
Well, as having mentioned my district, Vandenberg Air Force Base, where SpaceX actually is setting up a sort of a private space entity, if you will. And I mean, I think this is very exciting, and the potential is enormous, although there are other states that are recognizing this and competing very heavily. And I think in some instances, overcoming California's obvious preference in terms of both our technology and our brain power, and the fact that a lot of these facilities exist here. We have, I think it's the polar orbit as compared to the Ecuadorian orbit here. So there's a lot of good reason for us to be in the forefront on this. And I think it does tell the industry that we do consider them a priority, along with asparagus and strawberries and broccoli and whatever else that we grow here and is important for our Dean, if it's in your district, Senator Wieckowski, I'm not sure it's in mine, but, and I'll find out if it is. I'll be hearing from my growers, I'm sure, any minute. But I think that it is, I think, important that we let the industry know that we are very interested in seeing it grow and develop and provide opportunities for really good paying jobs and an exciting future for all of us. So I would move the bill.
very good. We do have a motion. Would you like us to close, Senator Allen?
Respectfully ask for
Very
that
good,
vote.
thank you. We have a motion from Senator Jackson. Please call the roll.
Motion is due pass the Senate Appropriations. Hill?
Aye.
Hill, aye. Bates? Aye. Bates, aye. Berryhill? Block? Aye. Block, aye. Galgiani? Aye. Galgiani, aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hernandez, aye. Jackson? Jackson, aye. Mendoza? Wieckowski? Aye. Wieckowski, aye.
Thank you, Senators. Thank you. Thank you.
7-0, that bill will be out. We'll hold the roll open for absent members. Thank you, Senator Allen. Senator Galgiani. It's the only bill that is out completely is that one. We kept the roll open on that one because, yes.
Yeah, Morlock is out.
It's out. Did we say it was out? Okay, very good. Senator Galgiani,
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members.
item number 5, SB 1132. Please proceed.
SB 1132 simply allows individuals who are working hard to become licensed architects in California to use the job title Architect in Training. Right now, only licensed architects can use architect as a job title. That's because architecture has both a practice and title act to protect the public. Only those with the required education and/or experience and demonstrated knowledge through this passage of the licensing examinations can call themselves architects or offer architectural services. SB 1132 recognizes those who are on the path to becoming licensed architects by allowing them to use the job title architect in training. The title does not harm the public because it's clear the title does not imply licensure, and this proposal is not new in either California or the United States. 30 states currently have laws that allow those who are working to become licensed to use a title such as architectural intern or architect in training. Additionally, California and most states allow those who are working to become licensed engineers or licensed land surveyors to have the job title engineer in training or land surveyor in training. SB 1132 extends that option to the architectural profession, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Good, thank you. Witnesses in support.
Mr. Chair and members, Mike Bellotta on behalf of the American Institute of Architects, California Council. A couple of unique things about the architectural licensing law that I think speak to the public policy in the bill. First, unlicensed people are allowed a broad range of design powers in California without a license. An unlicensed person, me for example, could design a house of not more than 2 stories with a basement and an attic up to 4 units. Now, you would neither want to purchase nor live in a house that I would design, but I'm fully authorized to do it. It is important, I think, that the public have some idea of the kinds of people they're dealing with. The difference between me and a person who is actually pursuing the path towards architectural licensure. Secondly, it's really quite an arduous process to become a licensed architect in California. You have an experience requirement, an education requirement, and then an 8-part testing requirement. So what this does is it recognizes the people that have the experience component and the education component, and you're working to complete the balance of the program. So it takes a long time, and this is a way to recognize and let the public know the difference between the truly unlicensed, unregulated person like me and somebody who is pursuing an architectural license. Confers no additional practice abilities at all, is simply a title protection or a title recognition, if you will. And so we would ask for an aye vote. 30 states do this. We think it gives the public a little more information that would help them understand who they're talking to. With me is Kurt Kuknick, also from AIA, to answer any questions you might have.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Bellotta. And I would agree. I think this does offer that clarification. And it is amazing when you look at the requirements to become an architect, and this fits right into that point before the exam, but the qualifications are there. I think it's very appropriate. Would you like to make any comments?
I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Yes, Senator Wachowski.
So, according to our staff report, the NCARB had a futures title task force that looked at this and said they really don't think there's any need, or we should actually discontinue the intern designation to try to give people some clarification. And then the CAB actually tabled the motion that would have clarified or identified architects in training. So if the professional agency and the NCARB don't want to move on this, why should we vote on the bill?
Good question. Michael Armstrong, who is the CEO of NCARB, the National Council of Architectural Registration Board, and I have had several discussions about this issue, and what that committee decided to do is drop any paraprofessional title because they only wanted to recognize those who are licensed to practice architecture in the jurisdictions that make up NCARB member boards. And that was a decision of that particular committee. It was not a decision, though, of the 30 NCARB member boards that already use a paraprofessional title. And in fact, I have an email from Michael Armstrong that I received this morning in which he said they will be revisiting the issue because they've had so much pushback from the member boards, those 30 boards of the 54 boards that make up NCARB that already allow a paraprofessional title. Furthermore, in a discussion in Detroit with Mike Armstrong, he did tell my staff and my Academy of Emerging Professionals that NCARB would not stand in the way of any state that wanted to continue to use a paraprofessional title. That's none of their purview, none of their jurisdiction. And so what a state wants to do is a state's own business, and they would not stand in the way.
And with the California Architectural Board, they tabled the motion last year. What has occurred with
Well,
them?
not the board. The board did not table the motion. Actually, this matter went before the Regulatory Enforcement Committee, and the Regulatory Enforcement Committee made a recommendation to the board that it not move forward with the council's proposal for a paraprofessional title. And at a meeting last year of the full board, the board voted unanimously to return the matter to the REC to continue to work with the AIA California Council on this to bring a proposal forth to the licensing board, which we did, and that was in the March 3rd board package to the full board of the California Architects Board. There was a proposal in there.
Okay, so then I guess my question is why should the legislature move forward before we have the agreement with these two governing agencies? I mean, why vote on this now versus waiting for the REC to give their acquiescence, I guess, or yes?
Well, the REC would send, they'd look at the proposal of the council and they'd make their recommendations. And traditionally, it's been a parallel effort between the profession and the Architects Board as we move forward. Anytime we are working on something on a legislative front, we also work parallel on the regulatory side so that we arrive at a juncture. Sometimes we have legislation that we have to make tweaks to with regulation through the board. Sometimes there's regulations that need modification that we have to make statutory changes to. In this particular effort, what we're looking at doing is creating a parallel effort to arrive at the same place. So in our proposal to the board, we have identified those areas of the Practice Act that require minor changes, such as, for one thing, we don't want to see someone who is permitted to use the architect in training title to be out practicing moonlighting, if you will, using that title, taking advantage of it. And so we put a provision in the act that would prohibit someone from using that title in advertising unless that advertising is part of their employment with the employer, as in our proposal, would be permitted by the employer of the employee.
Thank you, Senator Wieckowski. Other questions? Yes,
Just
Senator
a quick
Bates.
one, having been a partner in an architecture firm, only as a spouse, by the way, but I can't draw a thing, but my concern would be, and I'm very supportive of this, but you said that the architect who owns the business would have the discretion to determine if he was going to let that individual use the title as they were, you know, as he was working, because my concern would be this: if you're bidding on a big job, you're better to show that you have an architect and a license and you have draftsmen with certain qualifications to really be competitive. I would be concerned that if the person gets to decide that they want that title on a bid document, that actually could be a negative, where someone, you're going to do a big project and they don't want an architect in training, they want somebody who's, you know, very skilled with the engineering or the CAD programs or all of that, which is a lot of the subsets in architectural firms now. So is there discretion in it for the business owner, the person who owns the firm, to say, you know, I don't want to list you that title for you in this bid document, you know, when there's an RFP?
Certainly.
Because I think those are things that maybe are in the weeds, but you ought to think about that.
Well, in the warp and the weft of this all is that the employer does have the full authority to allow the employee to use the title in what we commonly call instruments of service, which could be everything from the construction documents and specifications all the way down to any correspondence material that has the firm's name on it. So business card is the most common example.
Right.
If I'm handing out a business card, that is considered an instrument of service. And if it has my name and the title on there, architect in training, that is up to the full allowance of my employer. If he wants to continue to call me a senior draftsperson, a draftsperson,
Right.
any of those titles that we find within what we call the hourly billing sheet of a firm for description of services, that is up to the employer.
Okay.
And this will remain, once again, up to the employer.
Good.
Thank you, Senator Bates. Other questions? would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Galgiani. Is there a motion? Sure. Thank you, Senator Block. We have a motion from Senator Block. Please call the roll.
Motion is due pass to Senate Appropriations. Hill.
Aye.
Hill, I. Bates. Bates, I. Berryhill. Berryhill, I. Block. Block, I. Galgiani.
Aye.
Galgiani, I. Hernandez. Hernandez, I. Jackson. Jackson, I. Mendoza. Wachowski.
I'm sorry?
I'm staying.
Oh, she's not, okay.
Okay. We have 7.
7-0 at this point. We'll hold the roll open for the absent members. Thank you. So we could call the absent members, and we'll do thank you very much. Pardon me, we have the absent members here? One of them is here, yes. Well, if we get one more, we will close. He's the one we're missing, right? Okay, we'll go through the bills now and go one time so everyone doesn't have to stay. We'll go to item number 1, SB 945. The current vote is 6-0. Please call the absent members.
Block. Aye. Block, I. Jackson. Aye. Jackson, I. Mendoza.
That bill has 8-0. We'll hold the roll open for the absent members. Item 2, SB 952 by Anderson. Current vote is 6-0. Please call the absent members.
Block. Aye. Block, I. Jackson. Aye. Jackson, I. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, aye. That's out.
How many?
9-0.
9-0. That measure is out. Item number 3, SB 999, Senator Pavley. Please call the absent members.
Bates. Berryhill.
7-0. That measure is out. Moving to item 4, Senator Monti, SB 1059. Please call the absent members. Current vote 6-0.
Block. Aye. Block, I. Jackson. Aye. Jackson, I. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, aye. That's 9-0.
9-0. That bill is out. Item 5, SB 1132, Senator Galgiani. Please call the absent members. Current vote 7-0.
Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, aye. Wachowski. That's 8-0. That's out.
8-0. That bill is out as well. Item number 6, SB 1155 by Senator Morell. Current votes 4-0. Please call the absent members.
Bates. Aye. Bates, aye. Berryhill. Aye. Berryhill, aye. Galgiani. Aye. Galgiani, aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, aye. Wachowski.
Allen?
No, Morell.
Morell.
Number 6.
Aye.
Aye.
9-0. That bill is out. Item number 8, SB 1215, Senator Allen. The current vote 7-0. Please call the absent members.
Berryhill. Aye. Berryhill, aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, aye.
That bill has 9 votes, 9-0. That bill is out. That is it. Oh, no, we're going back to SB, item number 1, SB 945, Senator Monti. Please call the absent member. Mendoza.
Mendoza. Aye. Mendoza, aye.
That bill has 9 votes. That bill is out as well. That concludes the Business Professions and Economic Development hearing for Monday, April 4th. We're adjourned.